Hello team, this is Dor. I'm here in Germany in an eco village called Schloss Tempelhof. I'm here to talk to you today about the four feelings. What are they? How do they look like and how can you use them? Let's start. So the four feelings. The first question that I get is, what do you mean four feelings? What, there are only four feelings? What is this? Is this kind of a module, like an NLP module or something like that, to make things simple and like manageable? Well, no. Turns out that there are four feelings. I didn't believe it myself. I don't ask you to believe it. You can take everything what I'm saying right now as a new distinction and explore that for yourself, and maybe you discover that it doesn't work for you, which is great. And also let me know what you found, because that's interesting. We all exploring together, I assume here. So the four feelings are almost like these RGB colors, these primary colors that from them all the other colors come from. So there are more feelings, or you can call them emotions, but there are a mixture of those basic four feelings, or they're some kind of a variation of those four feelings, and I get more into that later. But I just want to speak for a minute about how this whole thing started. So 40 years ago, a team of researchers under the umbrella that is now called possibility management started from zero. They started from exploring, doing experiments, and they didn't rely on the theories of Freud or Jung or this psychoanalyst intellectual kind of theories that were very popular back then. So they did a lot of research and experimenting, and 40 years later you have a lot of research about the four feelings. There's probably thousands of people around the world that experiment with these distinctions or this work called possibility management, and that is what they found. That's what it's not really about this intellectual theory. That's what works. For example, when we're doing emotional healing processes, and if you want to know what it is, you can check out that video down below. So when we do this healing work, we find that this is actually what works, like practically. That's what it boils down to, these four feelings. So it's not just like a theory that you can take and just keep it in your mind. It's really something you can work with. That was cool. So in this video I want to touch also about like coasting on your feelings, which is kind of this new concept. You can also call it surfing on your feelings, in your conscious feelings, which is what this video is really about. This knowledge about the four feelings, it's for you to surf on your feelings. The purpose of this is, in modern culture, and the way I was, at least, and a lot of people that I met, we have all this mishmash about feelings. We don't have a lot of clarity. Of course, nobody teaches us at school what are feelings and what is the difference, for example, between feelings and emotions, which I'm going to touch on later in this video too. So we grow up with this mishmash, this like unclarity. It's like, what are feelings and emotions? Do I want them? I don't want them. Some people tell us that like feelings are just some sort of thoughts in other ways, like just some sort of they tell you, like, research find that emotions are just like this energy, like brainwave thoughts that are chemical responses that you can fully predict with a computer and stuff like that. By the way, you can see the the fields, this beautiful organic fields of Schloss Tempelhof farm, which I'm working in. But actually other research found out that, and maybe I'm gonna put a link down below for that, that the heart has its own like almost like its own brain. The heart, it has neurons that similar to the brain that you use for thinking, the same we have from the heart. Actually 60% of the heart is not muscles like the people used to think it's just a muscle to pump up the blood. It actually has neurons. So we have this whole emotional body that is actually exists, that it has its own intelligence, and that's the key word here, intelligence. We have intellectual intelligence, like brain intelligence, which is different from emotional intelligence. Like our feelings have their own information that comes to us, and because we're not taught, nobody taught about it in school, and our parents didn't know it, and their parents didn't know it, blah blah blah. Nobody told us that, so we don't know how to use this. This is a natural capacity that you have as a human being, which we don't use. So it's like not using your brain. And so we know a very simple thing about the brain. Like we know there's these neurons networks, and we know that like our eyesight, like we get the picture here and it goes here, like all this stuff is like very basic stuff, but we haven't really discovered this basic stuff about the emotional body. So having 4 feelings might sound to you like a new age kind of theory or something like that, but it's actually it's actually a research, like it's science. It's like it's so basic that, but it's just ridiculous that we don't know about it. So once you experiment a little bit with that, you're gonna see, oh, it's very clear. So we have 4 basic feelings: primary, anger, sadness, joy, and fear. Okay, these are the 4 feelings. You can say mad, scared, sad, or glad in another way to remember them. So the 4 feeling: anger, sadness, fear, and joy. These are the 4 feelings. Okay, they are pure information, pure intelligence that comes to us as natural human beings, that we interact with our surroundings. For example, I look at this cornfield and I feel angry. Why are they doing monoculture? Why are they not considering the land, the environment, that monoculture is not very healthy for the land? So I feel angry about that. That's a feeling of anger. Okay? And I look to the other side and I feel joy. It's so beautiful here. These trees around me and this light wind. And also I feel a bit sad because the wind kind of stinks and I need to change direction now, but I actually wanted to go this direction. So I'm kind of sad about this way that I'm going. And I have fear because I don't know if on the other side there's going to be a lot of noise. So I feel a bit of fear. That's my 4 basic feelings right now that I'm feeling, and they always exist there. And of course there are many levels to them. For example, there might be a bigger fear, like the day is coming to an end, and so there's different dimension and levels for these 4 feelings. I kind of gave an example of low intensity feelings, which people are usually not even in contact with. They don't even feel them, so they're using a lot of the brain power, a lot of the intellectual body, because those, like this little nuggets of information from the feelings they don't take. And that's a subject for another video about numbing ourselves to our feelings. But just that as an example for the 4 feelings. Now, how the 4 feelings create other feelings. So there is a distinction between feelings and emotions. Okay, feelings are, just like I said now, just pure intelligence that come in from interacting with our environments. Okay, there are natural, there are immediate, and they come and they go. Like, I feel this fear, I use the information, and the information gave me what it came to give me, and it goes away after like maximum 3 minutes, let's say. But then there are emotions. For example, if I get angry that someone left these boxes over here, which is me, by the way, and this is really gets me angry. Like, I'm angry the whole day, the whole week. I'm like, this person is always doing that. You know, I get triggered. Like, people get triggered by their roommate. He left the dishes again. Like, they get angry about it for weeks. That's an emotion. Okay, that is a feeling that got stuck in the past, and the information that came there, it couldn't be expressed, couldn't be used. Maybe it was too dangerous for me to be angry at a friend that stole my homework, and I can't really intellectually analyze how it's disconnected, but in some way I got angry. But I had the teacher in kindergarten, and she didn't allow me. I couldn't be angry because I would get punished, and I didn't want to miss lunch in getting punished, something like that. So the feeling couldn't be expressed, it got stuck, and that's an emotion. So now I see something, I get angry, but that's not a feeling, that's an emotion of anger. It doesn't go away after 3 minutes, it stays for longer. And so it can be an emotion of stuck fear from the past, stuck sadness, and even stuck joy from the past. Like, if you want to think about stuck joy from the past, you can think about like someone that like his father was never around. When he saw his father, he's like got so much joy, but he couldn't express that joy. Like, the joy got stuck there, and now every time he see an old person, he feels like this joy all of a sudden. So that triggers a joy that doesn't go away. So he stays, I don't know, he sees like an old person in the cafe house and he's happy the whole day. So kind of a weird example, but bear with me. So even joy can be stuck. Okay, so that's the stuck emotions. So what is other feelings and emotion that I didn't mention yet? For example, let's take depression. What is depression? Depression is a mixed emotion. So it's anger mixed with sadness. For example, it's a true example for me. I felt a lot of depression in university. That's how I started this whole journey, where I discovered self-development, and then I discovered like yoga, and then I discovered possibility management. So I felt depression because I felt sad that I'm in a place that I'm not really passionate about. I don't feel that's where I want to be. And also I have this anger because I blamed everyone. This was an emotional anger. It was not like conscious anger, or just like blaming people in my life that I'm stuck there in the place that I didn't want to be. And I was like sad and angry at the same time. It created depression. Okay, that's a mixed emotion. And that's an example for what creates all the other emotions. Okay, for example, hello, I'm doing a video. Hi, Maya. So another example of mixed emotion is hysteria, which is a mixture of fear and anger. And another example is overwhelmed, which is a mixture of all the four feelings: anger, sadness, fear, joy. When some of my clients, they talk about it, like they feel overwhelmed by their situation in life, because they have all this stuck emotion, because they also feel the joy about this, but they also feel fear, and they also like what I'm gonna do, and they also feel sadness, like I lost this friend. So they have all these four emotion mixed up. It's create overwhelm or burnout. A lot of people I hear burn out from working a long time in an office. It's not because they worked a lot. I can work in something that I consciously feel. I can work constantly in that thing. It's just because they keep numbing themselves in the work and they're not allowed to feel, so more emotion gets stuck. Oh, my boss, more emotion, but they can't express it, and then all these emotions that get stuck together, they create burnout. So and there's a lot of different, like all the emotions that we talk about, like hysteria, depression. Okay, just pull the list. So all these stuck emotions, there's a long list of them. And then there's another example. There's another example for something we call feelings. For example, people tell me a lot, what about frustration? So this is a form of other feeling, which is kind of disguised because you're not allowed to feel the feeling fully and get this information. So it's kind of, we have a name for it because it's almost like to name half of a feeling. It's almost to name an unexpressed feeling. It's almost like I name a corn that didn't grow. It's like I name the name of a failure of a corn. That's what it is. So frustration is anger that you're not really allowed to express. You're not allowed to say, like, I'm angry at this work, I want to quit. So you're like, oh, I'm frustrated from this work. You're like half-assing that. And there's other example of names that we invented for the four feelings that cannot be expressed. Or there's example of double feelings. For example, anxiety is fear from feeling fear. Okay, so all this stuff that people are about, like anxiety, what they don't distinct is that it's actually fear. They feel fear from feeling their emotional fear. So they once had this emotional fear about something, and it was so big, like there were bad kids in school and they got punished by their parents, and at that moment they really felt their parents are gonna get rid of them or something. So they felt like they're gonna die, and it's a very noble thing that they did to choose to survive, but for that they had to suppress the emotion of fear because it was too big for them to feel back then. So then the emotion got stuck of fear, and every time they're about to feel this huge emotion of fear, because now they have a big test in university and they need to pass the test, so they start to feel anxiety. They feel fear of feeling this fear again, of this emotional fear that they're not good enough for their parents or something. So what do you do with anxiety? You just do an emotional healing process for the emotion of fear, and then you understand why I feel fear, to feel this emotion of fear. And there are maybe more all decisions that involve, like all decisions like not feeling our feelings. Like some people in those moments decided to not feel their feelings, and right now they're rather, instead of like you might feel this also like a certain emotion when you're watching this video. It's like feeling like angry or frustrated or bored. Like even boredom is a sort of anger. So like you might have an emotion even watching this because you might made an old decision to not feel your feelings. Okay, I know that one of my first healing processes was about that, was about like my new decision were to feel my feelings. Alright, so I gave you just now an example. The first example was about the four feelings, then the difference between feelings and emotions, then the distinction about mixed emotions. Right, so you got all of that, and you got an example of different variation of names that we give to unexpressed feelings. Okay, so now how does it look like? What are the four feelings? How do they look like when they're not activated? You see a lot of what you see in modern culture. For example, you see people that are being nice and they're saying like, I'm very frustrated right now, and they smile. Or you see people saying, I'm very glad right now, and they don't really, you don't see they're feeling the joy. Or they say, you see, or for example, you see people are eating something and you don't like see their joy about it. They don't feel their joy about what they're eating. Or you see people that feel angry and they cannot and they cannot really feel their anger. There's some other feelings come up. Or you just see culture that is very intellectual. Like you see people that it's easy for them, instead of just saying, I feel angry about this, I'm gonna change. Like you're with a room in a bunch of people that you don't want to be there, and instead of saying, okay, I changed my mind, I'm gonna go, you have to come up with like intellectual reasons for that, like they were late and I am like blaming or something. Or you see culture that is really about theory, like what religion are you, what's the theory behind your spiritual thing. Like you see everyone is like being very intellectual because the four feelings, this distinction doesn't arise, or like they don't know about what they don't know. So that's how it looks like. It looks like a bit of a wibbly wobbly kind of situation. And when you know about the four feelings, you have the phase one of feeling work, which is just being aware. So this is like a practice you can take from this video. Every time right now you feel one of these four feelings, you can write it down. It's like, I feel fear, or just acknowledge this to yourself. Take a mental note. I feel fear about this. I feel joy because of this. I feel angry because of this. So start being aware and start noticing whenever you feel one of these four feelings. That's phase one. It's like becoming aware to the information of the feelings. And there are some layers to it. For example, you can ask your sadness, what you have for me, and get the information behind the sadness. So for example, the sadness gives us information. Let's talk a minute about what information these feelings gives us. So sadness, for example, give us some sort of a grievance, like being able to grieve and to let something go, to let go of something, to clean something old, and to mourn something, or to connect with someone. Like when you share, for example, it says story, and the story doesn't have to be sad, but you can use your sadness to share a story, and that connects people. So you can use sadness for connection, basically. That's different ways of connection and clearing out stuff and letting things go. And maybe this is like a lot of this research haven't yet been summarized. Like you can still discover new things. So you're welcome to share them if you discover them. So the information you get from anger is clarity, taking a stand for something, committing, changing your mind, stopping, starting, working in a team, saying yes, saying no, putting a boundary. That's the kind of things that anger gives you, this information, and you can use them. So we talked about phase one. phase 2 is using that information. So another information that you get from joy is to hold space for people, to inspire people. You know, when you work in a team, you can hold space and like a king kind of would, you know, like a conscious king, just to, you know, you feel the joy, you enjoy, you don't need anything, so you just hold space. And that's kind of the information that joy gives you, like what world you kind of want to live in. And the fear gives you information about your surrounding, like sensing, awareness, what's going on. Is this wave too big for me? Should I go surf in the little waves? It's like your fear gives you this information about the surrounding, like being alert, knowing what's coming, trying new things. All of this you can use your fear for. So that's the information from each one of the feelings, and there's more information. You can break it down even more. And the phase 1 of this work is getting the information, just being aware that you feel and that kind of stuff. And the phase 2 is using this information. So for example, a lot of people, they learn about this work and they start to be, I feel angry because my partner said something to me. So in phase 2 of this work, you can just use the anger to put a boundary. You're like, hey, this is not working for me. And I talk more about it in the video about how to set up boundaries. You can watch it here. Or you can say, use your fear to, like I said, navigate surfing. You can use your fear, you can use your joy to hold space in a workshop. You can use sadness to connect with someone. Like I hear people, I don't know, I went to this new city and I could not connect with people. It's hard to make new friends because everyone keep their own circle, and this country, they are not open to accepting new people. So you can use your like step 1 is like, instead of having all these excuses, is like step 1 can be like, I feel sad that I'm lonely and I cannot connect with people. And then step 2 is sharing that. You know, you share with you find someone that you see, is also lonely, and you go, you know, I feel sad because I could not find connection in the city. It's hard for me to connect to people. And then that helps you to connect. And then maybe you two connect. So that's how you do phase 2 of feeling work. You use the actual feeling. Okay, so we talked about the 4 feelings, how do they look like and how can you use them. But now I want to add something just as a bonus to talk about a little bit about coasting on your feelings. So coasting is a word, comes from coast, and it's similar word to gliding. It's like gliding, just coasting, you know, bringing your ship, coast it into closer into the harbor, into shore, or coasting with your bicycle. You know, you just leave your hands and just like woo with your bicycle, and that's like coasting with your feelings. What does it say? What does it mean? For us, because we didn't learn it, it seems so complicated and so hard to feel and to connect with the feelings. But actually, you can, once you learn this and you work a little bit with those feelings, it becomes like this very intuitive, very easy, very impulsive like kind of thing. Like some people ask me, do you always analyze everything you do? You think about it so much, because they don't know about the feeling, about the emotional body. It's like, no, it's really easy for me. It's really easy for me to decide something. Oh, no, I feel this place is not working for me anymore. I change my mind. I'm going to go somewhere else. I use my anger. Or, I feel the fear. This person is like probably too dangerous for me. I don't want to be around this person, and just I change my mind about it. Or I feel joy about something. I'm just, okay, now I don't need to be so active. I'm just going to hold space. So it just becomes this intuitive coasting on your feelings. And every feeling is like a surprise. Like once you're being just a bit intuitive and hearing your feelings, it's like, oh, I'm angry about that? I didn't know I'm angry. I'm angry about the environment? I didn't know I care about so much from the environment. Like lately it happened to me that I was in a liquid state, which means that I suddenly it's like someone pulled the rug underneath me. I have a video about what is a liquid state, you can watch it. So I was in this liquid state. It happened to me when I lost my bag in Berlin, and I thought I lost it, and then I left it around a group of people, and I kind of went to another place then. And when I didn't believe it's there, and I came back and I saw these people are just still sitting there with my bag, and suddenly I realized, wow, how much I care about people. It's like how much I care. It's crazy. It's like, wow, I didn't know I care about so much about people. So suddenly I felt like, oh, such a feeling of joy that the bag was there. You know, people have different name for joy. They call it gratitude. Like it's just different expression of what joy gives you, which is another form of the four feelings. Like you feel joy, it feels like relaxation. It feels like very peaceful. Or for example, people say it's like gratitude. It's like feeling the joy. It's like a stimulant for feeling your joy. It's gratitude. It's like an example that like you can, if you want to use your anger, you can get pissed about something, like stimulate that anger, or you can just feel the anger, just choosing to feel your feelings. So with feeling work, you can actually summon the feelings just by will. You don't have to have a reason. It's not like you have to be angry at something or someone. It doesn't have to like you feel joy about like to drink orange juice to feel joy. You can just now decide, once you learn this feeling work, you can just decide to feel this joy. And that is very far away, I think, from a lot of people. But once you do this work a little bit, you can really master that. And then imagine just like you don't need to try to achieve joy in life. It's like I'm just trying to find my joy. I'm just trying to feel what's gonna give me joy. You just decide to bring up your joy, but you just decide to fill up your anger, your fear, and your sadness. These four feelings are not better than each other. They're all on the same plane. They're all different dimensions that you can experience life with, and you can perceive life with. So that's actually what was given to us in this creation, to feel our feelings and to perceive them. These are the four feelings. You can try them, experiment with them, and see the different way they're expressed, and share also your research about that. I feel joy about making this video here in this amazing space. Around me there is a tent, a Moroccan tent, and horses. Very beautiful horses. Keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube, and to ring the bell so you get notified next time there is a video. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you. See you next time.